King Edward V was born on November 2, 1470, in the Palace of Westminster, London. He was the firstborn son of King Edward IV and his wife, Elizabeth Woodville. His birth was significant because it was the first time in over 100 years that an English king had a legitimate son who could inherit the throne. Edward V was the first child of King Edward IV and his queen consort, Elizabeth Woodville. Edward IV was a member of the House of York, one of the two main branches of the Plantagenet dynasty, while Elizabeth Woodville was from a lesser noble family. Their marriage was controversial at the time because Elizabeth was a widow and had two sons from her previous marriage. Edward V was crowned King of England on April 9, 1483, in Westminster Abbey. He was only 12 years old at the time, and his reign was the result of his father's unexpected death on April 9, 1483. Edward IV had not named a clear successor, and his death caused a power vacuum that was quickly filled by competing factions within the royal court. Edward V was one of the youngest monarchs in English history. His age and lack of experience meant that he was heavily dependent on the advice and guidance of his advisors, including his uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Edward V's reign lasted for only 77 days, from April 9 to June 25, 1483. During this time, he made few decisions of his own and was largely controlled by his advisors. Edward V's uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, deposed him on June 26, 1483. Richard had been appointed Lord Protector of England by Edward IV before his death, but he quickly seized power for himself and declared Edward V and his younger brother, Richard of Shrewsbury, illegitimate. Richard III's claim that Edward V and his brother were illegitimate was based on allegations that Edward IV had been secretly married to another woman before he married Elizabeth Woodville. The truth of these allegations is uncertain, but they were used by Richard to justify his seizure of the throne. The fate of Edward V and his brother Richard of Shrewsbury, Duke of York, remains a mystery. They were last seen in public in the Tower of London in June 1483, and their whereabouts and fate after that are unknown. It is widely believed that they were murdered by Richard III, although there is no conclusive evidence to support this theory. The mystery surrounding the fate of Edward V and his brother has led to many conspiracy theories and legends over the years. Some people believe that they survived and lived out their lives in secret, while others believe that they were killed by someone other than Richard III. The mystery surrounding the fate of Edward V and his brother has also made them popular subjects for literature and film. They have been featured in numerous works of historical fiction, including Shakespeare's play Richard III. Edward V was known for his love of music and dancing. He was an accomplished musician and enjoyed playing the lute and the harp. He was also known for his love of hunting and falconry. Edward V was devoutly Catholic, like his mother. He was educated by Bishop Robert Stillington, a noted theologian and religious scholar, and was known for his piety and devotion to the Catholic faith. He was placed under the supervision of the Queen's brother, Anthony Woodville, and had a strict scholarly upbringing. Edward V's reign was marked by political instability and intrigue. His advisors were divided into two factions: the Woodville faction, led by his mother's family, and the Yorkist faction, led by his uncle Richard, Duke of Gloucester. This rivalry would ultimately lead to Edward's downfall. Edward V was popular with the people of England, who saw him as a symbol of hope for a brighter future. His reign was seen as a chance to end the long-standing conflict between the House of York and the House of Lancaster, which had been at war for over 30 years. Edward V's reign was also marked by a number of administrative reforms, including the establishment of a new council to oversee the affairs of the kingdom. This council was made up of both Yorkist and Woodville supporters, but it was ultimately unable to prevent Richard of Gloucester from seizing power. Edward V's mother, Elizabeth Woodville, played an influential role in his life and reign. She was a strong-willed woman who had a reputation for being both ambitious and politically astute. She was also deeply committed to her children's welfare, and she fought tirelessly to protect their interests. After Richard of Gloucester seized power, he was crowned King Richard III on July 6, 1483. Edward V and his brother were declared illegitimate, and their fate remains a mystery to this day. Edward V's reign was brief but significant. He was the first legitimate heir to the English throne in over a century, and his short reign was marked by both promise and tragedy. His legacy has been overshadowed by the mystery surrounding his fate, but he remains an important figure in English history. His story has captivated the imagination of generations of people, who continue to speculate about what really happened to him and his brother in the Tower of London. Despite the many theories and legends that have grown up around him, Edward V remains a figure of enduring interest and fascination. In 1674, bones belonging to 2 children were found in the Tower of London, by workmen, however it has never been proven they were those of the 2 princes.